Hello, Carbon School District teachers, especially kindergarten and first grade teachers. We're excited to share with you a resource that we think is going to be very helpful. And I just wanted to take a minute and explain where this is coming from and what we're trying to accomplish with it. So there's a book called Making Sense of Phonics, the Hows and Whys. And we want to make sure we review our progress toward reading excellence. And last school year, we recognized through data analysis and a lot of meetings about the needs of the school district that reading was the number one concern, number one issue that we wanted to address. I also learned that by asking principals and teachers if they could tell me the reading level of any of their students, that was very difficult for them to answer that question. We didn't really have a mental model for what we expect in reading and how that's supposed to go. Many of us didn't really fully recognize what reading level was acceptable for any particular grade level. So we had a large group of teachers while we were asking these questions that requested a training. And in the meantime, there was an acknowledgement of a lack of resources to be able to put students in books at the right level. So we got ahead of that and placed an enormous book order for the whole district, the level books. In early this school year, we had our big reading training, and we learned about the importance of time, giving students enough time to read. We also learned about the level of text, that the time spent reading is only one aspect, but they need to be reading the right level of text for them to accelerate their learning. We learned that 1 year of reading growth in a year is not enough for most of our students. We have to accelerate that. So if we're going to do that, we need to make sure we address these research-based practices. One of those had to do with phonics mastery, and from a book called Focus. And in this book by Mike Schmoker, one of the best books on education I think ever written, says virtually any student can learn the mechanics of reading to decode grade level text in about 100 days. That means virtually all could be reading shortly after mid-year of first grade. If kindergarten does its part, they may read even earlier. Once they can decode, they only need very small amounts of skills review, but what they need in copious amounts is an opportunity to read. And reading the right level of text. So we talked about kindergarten and first grade teachers hitting phonics hard, getting it mastered, and then being done with it as soon as possible so that students can spend more time reading as they get older. If a student's on track, they will be at a level G by mid-year first grade. At that point, they can read G-level text, and we can start giving them enormous quantities of text, and we will see accelerated reading improvement. However, we don't quite buy into the 100-day thing. Instead, we want to look at it as 270 days. In other words, until mid-year of first grade. We would love for our students to master those phonics skills by then, so that they can spend more time in text and reading the right level of text. So what does that mean for kindergarten and first grade teachers? It means that you need to have knowledge about phonics. You need to have the skills to teach the phonics. You need to have the ability to differentiate when students are a little different and different situations arise. You need to have the ability to improvise your instruction minute to minute, day to day, and you need to have enough knowledge about the topic to be able to intervene successfully for those students who still don't have it. Now, we believe that's not possible without you having a very solid background in phonics, which brings us to our feedback from our reading training. Our kindergarten and first grade teachers, and I would add that several other teachers, even from fifth grade, their comments had to do with feeling pressure to really get this phonics thing done. It wasn't a negative thing, it was a positive thing, but at the same time they were saying, I need help to understand phonics. I need a better understanding myself so that I can do a better job. So we took that and got to work. And that brings us to the book called Making Sense of Phonics, The Hows and Whys. This is written by Isabel Beck and Mark E. Beck. Why did we choose this book? Mainly because as we research professional development options to provide help for our kindergarten first grade teachers, we realized that this book was being referenced in almost every situation when it came to professional development for phonics. So principals and coaches did a book study. I joined in with that as well, and so did Micah, and we took 2 months to read this book. We had a wonderful experience reading and discussing the book. We all learned a lot, and we determined after that that this would be an amazing vehicle to provide some knowledge base that teachers have been asking for. So we're going to ask you to read and discuss this book. I do want to mention that I spent a whole career focused on these areas, and as I read this book I learned quite a few things. So even an old dog like me learned a few things, so I encourage you, even those of you who are experts in this area, it is very much worth the time. Please read it carefully. Maybe even more important than that, have robust conversation in your groups about this book and the concepts that are in it. And as you read, please write your ideas, the things that come to your mind that you could do to implement. Write those ideas down. Also write a description of any gaps we have in materials or resources, things that you need to be able to do a good job teaching phonics, and share those lists with your principal and instructional coach. We want to hear the ideas. We want to hear what the gaps are so that we can support you. I can tell you that Carbon School District is committed to support you on this journey, and it is a journey. It's not going to be one step or 2 steps. This is going to be a lot of steps. So we need your help in knowing how to move forward. But just know that we are committed to making sure you have what you need. Thank you so much. We can't say enough how much we appreciate the hard work that you do. We understand how difficult it is to take a group of students in who have no knowledge of almost anything, and we're saying make sure that they master these phonics skills. But it can be done. I've seen it done, and you've seen it done. We just we need a little bit of background to be able to do it. So your principal and your instructional coaches, they're going to walk through some of the details of what we'd like to see happen. If you have any questions or concerns, please let them or me know. Thank you again for all you do.